something I've been listening to recently, or from a video I've been watching recently. It's from that Stanford series that you guys saw in the video earlier. I think a couple of the founders that were featured there, they talk about the idea that, especially at this early stage of a startup, you actually end up getting so much advice, so much input, so much feedback, which is, great. And I think it's absolutely essential to welcome that feedback and absorb it. But the danger is obviously that you can get distracted or led astray. And they talk about the fact that what you need to do is balance not just humility, but also with the ego as well. So that's something to think about, which is like, actually, sure, the humility part of it is more like, you're open to feedback, obviously, and that, you don't know everything, 100% don't know everything. And therefore, the more you learn, the better off you are. But then there's the ego side of it, which is like, actually, do I believe that I'm right about this hypothesis, about this proposition? Is this something that I believe in my gut that actually this is the way forward? And sometimes you just have to cover your ears and go la 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 la, just do what you need to do to build the product and just focus on it. But still constantly asking yourself, but is this feedback that I received correct? Could there be something right about it? Or is there something about it that I can still take from it? So yeah, Steve Jobs is a great example of someone who obviously had a pretty decent ego. And I use the term decent lightly, but an absolute visionary. So he is a great example of someone who had a very specific vision and he barreled ahead with that. So obviously what I need to do is make sure that I don't go the other end of the spectrum and go full humble, which, I kind of feel like, yes, I'm a very stubborn person, but I also feel like I can take the humility thing a bit too far. So I need to be careful with that and actually trust in my own instincts. So yeah, anyway, I'm just going on a walk. I try to get at least 10k steps in because I'm stuck by a desk all day. So yeah. So I've just gotten off the call with my mentor and God, it looks like I'm sweating. It's really warm in London these days. Anyway, every single time I get on a call with this guy, there's always some new revelation. And it's been months since we last spoke. And yeah, just today, just speaking about the business, he's gotten me to really think about whether I'm targeting the right user group. We used sort of the, different analogies around what kind of companies could I potentially compare my offering to, just in a different space, and what I can learn from that, but obviously still making sure that I'm disrupting in the right way, and not going for something that's red ocean in terms of, there are a lot of competitors in that space, and go for something that's blue ocean. So, but still at the same time, not trying to go so niche that no one uses the app or doesn't get why I'm doing that. But yeah, it was good to think about that, but also the marketing approach, the distribution of the product or the discoverability of the product. Thinking about that. He has a massive marketing background, and it was really interesting to think about the funnel. How am I going to get people to land on this without paying for ads? Because right now the main focus should be through word of mouth or organic traffic. How do I get people to get onto this, find out about the product, but then see the point of the product in a way where as soon as they land on the product, on the app or whatever it is, they see the point of it and they start to use features. So it's how do I get people to go through this funnel and maintain at least a decent size of that funnel as it goes down, not a steep drop off, retention basically. How do I get them to land and then maintain and convert appropriately where it's a very slow drop off? Obviously ideally it'd be no drop off, but that's impossible. Even Netflix, you get people dropping off using Netflix. So yeah, but still, I think it was a very good call. I'm glad I had it. Lots to mull over. But yeah, the focus for now is going to be to get the damn product out there. Okay, that was actually an easy fix. I've had worse. But yeah, so after speaking to my mentor yesterday, Wade, we were talking about the value proposition of the product, and what are people willing to pay for. And it just got me thinking around, okay, originally I was thinking, right, it's all about data visualizations, and maybe the product becomes like the MyFitnessPal of social support. Probably not the best analogy, but something that involves daily journaling, tracking, and you get value from it the more you use it, and it does require manual interactions. So I was thinking, right, well, that if that's the ask of the product, that it expects you to add these different interactions with people to then track your social support, are people willing to pay for that tracking and visualization? And to be honest, if I was to say that I was like the target user, I wouldn't pay for an app that I can just track and visualize stuff, right? Even if the visualizations are super pretty. And I think this is obvious, what value would that provide? I could do that in Excel, and I have been doing that in Excel or Google Sheets. I need to stop saying Excel. But yeah, so if I can do that myself, what would I be willing to pay for? And I think that's what got me thinking around, well, maybe the thing that I can't get through something like Google Sheets is something that's smart, or at least heuristically smart, where it takes and computes specific things that I've done, or specific actions or interactions that I've had on a day-to-day basis, and then essentially says, right, well, if you've done X, Y, and Z, why not try A, B, and C? And obviously this is starting to get into the world of learning and adaptive algorithms, etc. But right now, I'm no data scientist, right? So I'm going to start with something super simple that is based on heuristics. And sure, I could in theory build some Google Sheets, but it would be a very complicated formula. So that would be something I'd be willing to pay for, because it's something that makes my life easier. It essentially takes someone like myself and says, right, this is how you've been interacting with people on a daily basis based on your daily journaling, and this is what it would recommend based on my style of socializing and my personality. So it computes all of that and says, right, why not try and grab a coffee with so-and-so? Or why not go to the gym with so-and-so? Or, hey, it's been a while since you've caught up with this person, go see them. Or, hey, you're really close to this person, give them a call, see how things are going. I don't think the algorithm will be perfect at the beginning. I think it'll recommend things that will be that doesn't even make any sense. But yeah, I think it could be something worth trying out. And then with that in mind, if that's the value proposition that people are willing to pay for, I'm not going to be able to build that straight away. So it's also got me thinking about the business model. How do I plan to generate revenue from this? Because ultimately I need to support myself as well, right? And I have grand ambitions for this. And the way I look at money, my philosophy towards money, is that it's an enabler. So the more you get, the more you can do in this world. And I've got don't get me started, guys. I've got massive ambitions for where I want to take this, and there's a mission beyond a mission that I'm sure I'll get into at some point. But yeah, so for me, I think it's more around knowing that I want to generate revenue from this. What does that actually mean? And how would I do that in terms of a business model? So I think to begin with, if it's just going to be tracking interactions and capturing, just tracking interactions, then that would be free, because that's something me personally, I wouldn't pay for. It doesn't make sense, but it's convenient. If there's one place I can do it and it's nice and pretty, sure, I'll use it for free. I'm not going to add ads because I hate ads. Who likes ads? And then once the value is clearer, then possibly by that point, I think it's worth adding a subscription model to it, something that makes sense. So yeah, I think it'll be a freemium style model. Whether I'd go for a full paid plan later on, I'll worry about that later. I think whatever demonstrates the value of the product in the best way, that doesn't undersell the product, because there's always the danger of that, where you give something away for free when it's actually worth a lot more than that. And by, I guess, getting something to be free, you're actually bringing in users who aren't really going to use the product in the best way possible. Whereas if you put a monetary value to it, then the value of it is evident at the beginning, like in the sense that, hey, I believe this is worth this. So if you really want this, then you're gonna have to pay for it, because then by that point, I know the people who are paying for it are those who actually really desperately need this solved, and therefore will put in the most thought and effort into it, and we'll be doing daily journaling, etc. So yeah, those are my, I guess, ramblings around like the business model and where that could go as well. Anyhow,